let's go to the second matchup, the better matchup of the two. That is the Milwaukee Bucks in New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Bucks are -2 on the road. Road favorites here. Total is 224. Both teams coming off tough losses. Pelicans to the Thunder. The comeback came up a little short for a team. We talked about it on Buckets. If the Thunder could come out and win that first half, where the Pelicans have been doing damage all season long in that first half, they've been winning the first half, locking up on D, and then just trying to suffocate you out the rest of the night. If you can win that first half against the Pelicans, you have a real shot. That's exactly what the Thunder did. They won the first half and then hung on and showed a lot of grit coming down the stretch here. Mark Dagnall was changing up rotations to close out the game. SGA has not scored 30 points here in a while. Mr. Consistent, we talk about how he's been clipping that 31, 32-point mark every single night. He hasn't scored 30-plus in 4 straight. So they got it done. Team ball. Josh Giddey had a really good outing. But both teams coming off of a loss. Pelicans after a loss. 18-8-1 ATS. That is the best mark in the NBA. As home underdogs, there'll be a small dog here against the Bucks. 5-4 ATS. To talk about the Bucks, similarly to what Boston did on Monday, AC, the Bucks blew a 19-point lead to the Lakers in the fourth quarter with 8:25 left in the game. They were up 19. That should be an absolute lock. Unheard of right now in the NBA with some of these spooky games coming down the stretch. Austin Reeves got hot and essentially brought the Lakers back into the game. After a loss, the Milwaukee Bucks, 10-14-1 ATS. That's only 41.7%. As road favorites, 12-14 ATS. AC, I'm looking at the total here. We're both looking at the total here. Tell me why you like under 223.5.
Yeah, I think if New Orleans wants to compete in this game, they have to grind it out, because I don't think without Brandon Ingram, they're going to have the firepower to stay with Milwaukee. So I like the under here. The line is a little fishy, right? They're missing Ingram and they're only, two-point underdogs at home. So it's a little weird there. I have a small lean to Milwaukee because I think they have more to prove, to be honest. I think New Orleans is playing great. I think they're playing right at expectation, whereas we're still waiting for Milwaukee to kind of show that they are, the team to beat in the East. Right now it's still Boston. But with that said, I like the under here. If anything, it's the under or maybe the Pelicans team total under, because I think they're just going to really grind it out and play slow. Those are my 2 cents when it comes to this game.
Yeah, since BI went out, that was on March 21st against Orlando. They are 2-1 with a win over Miami. The other win was against Detroit, and then they took that L to the Oklahoma City Thunder on Tuesday. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna go under 223.5 in this matchup. Did you? I know you did, AC. That Lakers Bucks game, it went over because it went to double overtime. Before that, it was an absolute grinder. And I think that's exactly what this game is going to be. Both teams coming off of a loss. The Pelicans' last 10 games are damn near the best defensive team in the NBA. Point Zion has been playing extremely well on offense. And this doesn't help the under, but I think it helps the overall cap of the game because I think it allows the Pelicans to play a little bit of their style. The Bucks have nobody in the backcourt that can guard really anybody. Definitely not Zion Williamson. That's where they're going to have trouble here in the playoffs. So I expect New Orleans to be able to play their game. They have some wings and some bigger guys that could deal with Giannis and potentially give Dame some trouble as well. I like this to be a low-scoring game. I want to say this is like a 110-105 type of game.
Yeah.
That's
I
how
think
I
that's
see
a
it.
nice. I think it's a nice segue because we talked about maybe getting into some of the playoff discussion, but they do have Patrick Beverly who's on the men. I know he's not a needle mover by any means, but 5 to 10 minutes of Bev in a playoff game will change it up. So they desperately need someone like him. They're starting to play Jay Crowder a little bit more too, and he just hasn't been as good as Jay Crowder, uh, in Phoenix. So, I mean, I like the under in this game, and I think if Milwaukee with Doc Rivers wants to go where they want to go, they need to start playing under type games. They can't get into shootouts with these other teams because it becomes more of a coin flip instead of valuing each possession more with Giannis and with Dame. But that game against the Lakers, Sean, that's the first time I've seen Giannis like noticeably gassed. Like he couldn't run up and down the floor. He was just walking. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
If he's out of shape, Milwaukee is SOL.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's out of shape, but yeah, I mean they need him at tip top all game long if they're gonna make a deep run in the playoffs here. The Milwaukee Bucks on the road 15-20 to the under. So I think overall they've been playing under games on the road all year. This is I like this matchup being an under spot that it's just going to be a competitive game. Both teams coming off losses, unless our guy Bobby Portis goes ballistic, which he's been trying to do. He's been trying to bury people's careers, hitting fadeaways in their face and all that stuff. If he does that, then all bets are off on the under. But overall, I think this is a slower game. Let me check the pace on both of these squads
Yeah,
really quick.
while you
But
do that, it's an under spot too because the head-to-head matchup here, it's hit the over 7 straight times between Milwaukee and New Orleans. So it's either you continue to try to catch the falling knife or you think the trend is going to buck there. So I think with Doc Rivers in the fold, they've kind of changed their mindset. They are playing a little bit slower, and they've changed that pick and roll defense as well. So yeah, I mean, the more I talk about it, I do think this is an underplay, and it's probably my favorite bet out of the two games.
yeah, New Orleans pace 95.6 possessions here a game. That's 20th in the NBA the last 10. And the Milwaukee Bucks have been playing a little quicker. They're down at 11 at 98.2 possessions a game. But when we're in New Orleans, we're going to play in. I expect New Orleans to dictate more than Milwaukee does. As long as we avoid some crazy explosion from the guys on Milwaukee, because those are that out of the two teams, they have the guys that can have the 45, 50-point night,
Yep.
then I
Yep.
believe this is another game. And I think New Orleans comes in locked in and ready to go, where they don't let Dame score 50. They don't let Giannis score 50. And Chris Middleton's coming off a horrific shooting performance as well. So as long as we don't get crazy positive regression on that end, I think we'll be in good shape.